I'm Marty Neill, Chief Executive and Founder of AirPOS, now called AirPOS Pay, for anyone that's particularly interested in that. And that's because we have added to our point-of-sale solution a payment solution backed up by our big brothers down in Dublin at Stripe that's enabled us to change our business significantly in the last couple of years. And I'm going to talk a bit about that. That says, and good riddance too. That hasn't survived Canva, the PowerPoint, I'm afraid. So let's see how we go. So, payment facilitation, what is it? Payment facilitation is effectively someone makes a payment and you are the facilitator in between. So it's a different approach to payments. Traditionally, the banks are just the authorizers. That you need to have a merchant account. There's all manner of things. Hang on, I'm breaking my own rules. All manner of things that had to go on in order for a payment to be taken. Payment facilitation means when you use your card, for example, at the point of sale, we're the guys that go, hiya, we'll take that payment. What we'll do is we'll take a little bit out of that payment and we'll send the rest to Stripe. So it's a brand new approach to terminal payments, card payments, online payments, all sorts of stuff. For me, it's the absolute future and it's the killer of software subscriptions. This is how traditional payments work, and this is why they're an absolute nightmare to work with. So for years and years and years, we started AirPOS in 2009, pretty much actually 2010. We really got going when we spun out of the main company. And we wanted to be Square. We wanted to be the guys processing payments. We spoke to everyone who processes payments. We spoke to PayPal, we spoke to WorldPay, we spoke to CardSave, we spoke to Bank of Ireland, we spoke absolutely everyone, and everyone looked at us blankly and went, well, that's what we do. And it's like, yeah, but you don't do the point of sale. No, we don't. Right. Why don't you do both? Well, it's not what we do. We do payments. And it's like, right, but you could do both. And in particular, PayPal, I'm really excited. I'm going, we're working with PayPal. We're really getting somewhere here. And I'm going, look, guys, here's the point of sale app, your payments, e-commerce, your payments. Let's fucking make it work. It's a no-brainer. So I got sent to the payments team over here. And they went, well, that's not what we do. And I got sent to the e-commerce team over here. And they went, well, that's not what we do. I sent to the business development team over here, and I got sent to teams internationally and round and round, none of whom knew what the other teams were doing. Until David Marcus walked in the door, to be fair to him, as the chief executive, and tried to change the whole thing. Couldn't do it. So even PayPal, which you would consider non-legacy, you would consider a modern payment processor, weren't thinking about multi-channel, weren't thinking about how payments move around. And definitely, as you can see now, we're not thinking about the future of payments, because if they had been, they'd have bought Stripe. This is a MasterCard example of banks being in the mix, right? So you got the acquirer, you've got the authenticator, you got the merchant account, you got this, you got that, you got all these steps. And of course, these are all single steps of failure as well. So you kind of got this whole, what I would call, an virtuous loop, which no one wants to deal with. And this allowed the room for something like Stripe to actually come in and say, do you know what? Software developers are sick of how payments work. We're just going to solve that problem. We're just going to make it real easy for you. And they have. This is a nightmare, and I mean a nightmare, to integrate with. We spent so much time, wasted so much capital. WorldPay especially, we should have known it wasn't a fit. They should have known it wasn't a fit, but we tried to shoehorn it in. Because we were desperate. We needed a payment processor. We needed someone who understood what we were, and we needed to get away from the subscription model. AirPOS going to subscriptions was a compromise. We did it because we couldn't do anything else. So many software businesses become subscription businesses because they can't do anything else. Payment facilitation, payment orchestration, which we'll talk a wee bit about later, is going to change these things. So this, when you try to put your point of sale here, for example, there's really no facility to do this with legacy payment processors. When you try to add on e-commerce, forget about it. When you try to add on social media, years away. When you try to add on marketplaces, decades away. It's just never going to happen. Similar to what Kieran was saying about the legacy accountancy practices, it's not that they don't want to do it. It's that their culture isn't set up in order to do it. And can you change a culture to actually facilitate this? Well, what'll happen is they'll go and buy a bunch of stuff, but they already did that during the pandemic. Revolut went on the shopping spree. Where's Revolut's point of sale? He said, hoping it doesn't appear in the next few days. But where is it, right? Lost the mix somewhere. So this is how payments worked, thankfully. Enter the new guys. and thank God for them. Stripe, Molly, Adyen, they're the kind of leading lights. There's also ones that are kind of coming up and disrupting them. Like Stripe's only really 11, 12 years old, and it already has companies that are coming in and trying to do what it doesn't do very well. So you've got real innovation in the payment space. And of course you have, because it's where all the finance is. You know, when you go and talk to civil service about fintech, they get very excited for a reason. They don't quite really know why they're excited, but they should be excited because how payments work is being ripped off from the banks, ripped away from the banks and put in the hands of some 20-year-old software developer in Palo Alto probably. But, you know, that's a better place for it than the banks. So this is a really exciting moment. And I would say to you, as software businesses, we have the Raise Accelerator. I deal with an awful lot of founders. I'm a Catalyst mentor. Everyone that says to me subscriptions, I now ask them why. And nobody else asks this question. So they just go, it's a SaaS business, it's a subscription business. I go, why is it a subscription business? And they never really have an answer. That's question number one. Question number two, why did you price it the way you priced it? Competitor, no. Forget about your competitors. Why did you price it? Why is the value that? Right? And they don't really have an answer. And I don't expect them to have an answer, but the culture is that you just go, well, we're a software business. We're just going to make a subscription. Well, do you know what? I'm a software business. I'm sick to the back teeth of subscriptions. We have so many subscriptions. And once you go over 10 people, the thing that was great about subscriptions, that pay for it in the future, no. Everybody knows 10's the tipping point. Slack goes, boom, it has to be annual. All these things just start to ramp. And you go, bloody hell, how did my overheads end up this? Right? Plus as well, picking on Xero a little bit, they are a partner of ours, picking on them a little bit here, they have raised their pricing what feels like every quarter for the last 3-4 years. It's a good approach because it doesn't feel like a real gouge like some of them have done. We did it too. We had to do it. We had to actually quadruple our subscription price at one point and just bite our tongues and go, we might be fucked here, but we had to do something to try to survive. Thankfully, we got the call from Stripe not too long after, and they went, yeah, we've got this terminal product. I'm like, okay, great. Send a contract. Don't even need the speech. Send a contract right now, today. Do it. And they did. So why is it different? It's different because you can resell payments. Now, all of these startup founders, all of these guys in the accelerators, a lot of them are very young. A lot of them are very, very first time for a whole lot of stuff, right? And I'm going, guys, there must be somewhere in your product where payments happen. There must be, right? It's almost universal. Some cases, you just don't have it. And I get that. And that should be a subscription business, right? But somewhere in there, if you're sending an invoice, who's doing the payment? If you're taking a card payment, who's doing the payment? You know, somewhere in there, if there's any exchange of money, which there always almost is, right? And I'm thinking about accountants. I mean, if I'm an accountant, I'm down a Stripe tomorrow. You're on a train right now. Going, guys, we've all these payments coming through. What do we do about them? You can build in to your software very easily. Now, hand on heart, I didn't build it, but I did watch it be built very easily compared to anything before, for sure. You can build in payments into your software and you can take a slice of every payment. And the beauty of that is that the customer goes, well, I sold something. You know, when OES sells a pint, we're behind the bar over there that's running our POS pay and our POS on the POS. When they sell a pint, we get paid. But they're happy because they sold a pint. Subscriptions, you're going, and you all know, you're looking at it and going, really? Did I get the value from this? Do you know? The other thing is, and again, I could give you anecdotes forever about this. The other thing is, everyone thinks that software should be free, right? Even people who work for software companies, right? I set up another business fairly recently, a couple of years ago, with two guys who work for software companies, and the first conversation was, where can we get a free CRM? Where can we get? And I'm like, here, I'm right here. I'm sitting right here. You both work for a software company. I run one. Why are we talking about free software? You won't pay 25 quid a month for a CRM? Hell no. It's like, you work for a software company, right? So there is this perception, and I've fought it my entire career, and it's exhausting, frankly, that software should be free, right? Payment facilitation and the resale of payments makes it as close to free as it can ever actually be, right? So how does it work? Payment comes in at the card terminal. We go, okay, we're charging the merchant 1.4%. From that 1.4%, we take, let's say, in an average case, 4.2p or somewhere around there. That's our little hive off, right? And you need millions of these, frankly, to really make it work. But Stripe gets paid, interchange gets paid, network fees get paid. That's how the banks get paid, because you never actually get rid of them. They're just in the background. But for us, every customer of ours are so much happier. And I've never had the conversation with any of them about, I think this is too expensive. You know, it facilitates their growth. It incentivizes us to align with them and grow with them. You know, so I had a customer meeting yesterday. She set up a shop 6 months ago. She's kind of finding her feet, trying to outrun the renting rates, the usual stuff in a physical outlet, right? And I said to her, look, everybody else trying to sell you something, and it's going to be one and done. They're going to be in here, they're going to sell you it. You will never see them again unless something goes wrong, right? And even then, you might not see them again when something goes wrong. I'm here for the long term. I need your business to grow. Because when your business grows, my business grows. It's all about alignment. It's fantastic. You're not aligned when you're billing somebody a subscription. Some people are happy to pay, in our case, 58 quid a month. Others are going, bloody hell, we lost every coffee shop. We knew we would lose every coffee shop the minute we quadrupled the subscriptions we meant. Right, coffee shops are going to go. Anybody that was basically under 100k in turnover was probably going to go, you know, because the value proposition didn't stack up. Since we did this, we haven't lost one, which is quite impressive, you know. 5 reasons why this will kill software subscriptions. Everybody hates them. I'm using the word hate. It was a strong word. I certainly hate them, right? And I run a software subscription business, right, currently. Most of our customers are moving over to our prospect. But, you know, I did that as a compromise. No one likes them, right? Anybody like them? Anybody go, oh, what a wonderful subscription? Not really, right? So it's a problem. And it's a problem for the industry, because we went, here's an innovative model. Here's a way of paying for software in the future. It was based on our cloud computing costs as well, which have gone right through the roof, to the point where pioneers like 37 Signals are now moving off the cloud and starting to run on physical servers again. So even for us, as the overheads go up, as AWS bills get bigger, as Amazon, as Heroku bills get bigger, you're kind of going, right, okay, this actually doesn't really stack up for us. And it becomes a race to the bottom as well, because then your incumbent comes in and goes, oh, they're at 60 quid a month. We're going to do it for 30. Well, they've got the same cloud computing costs as you. They just don't realize, because they haven't got the scale yet. When they get the scale, 30 don't work anymore. Suddenly it's got to be 60. Then it's got to be 90. Then it's got to be 100. Where does it end? That's the problem. Plus the inflation of software developer salaries, the inflation of sales salaries, all this stuff. Subscriptions are terrible. Terrible for inflation. Terrible. In an inflationary environment, subscriptions are the worst thing you can have, because everybody goes, you're just gouging me. It was already too expensive. So the value proposition doesn't stack up. Again, everyone thinks software should be free, even people who work at software companies. To the point where I started putting this into interview questions when people were coming to work for us, because I wanted them to understand, listen, this is how you get paid. If you think software should be free, you shouldn't be working here. You're not going to be a good fit, right? Subscriptions, not really usage-based, and that's true. Now, I look at Canva and I go, you guys should be billing me more. Shut up, Marty. They just doubled their subscriptions, but I'm still happy, right? I actually said it the week before they did it, you know. I went, should be billing me far more than tenner. I look at Vimeo. They should be billing me far more than 12 quid a month. There's ones where you go, the value stacks up, right? Then we looked at Slack and went, what the hell are we paying for this for? Really? Like, I mean, is it that good? Do you know, is it really that better than Discord? Is it really better than Campfire, which you can buy on once on a one-off contract now? Probably not, right? So it wasn't essential. We were paying $2,000 a year on Slack. We just went, nah. And we did it with lots of stuff. And also, like, Google Workspace started to come in with equivalencies of almost everything as well. So we moved, you know. Subscriptions are a last resort when companies can't monetize any other way. Software companies in particular. But I'm interested to see, so we got Rebel Lemon, who are doing a subscription for graphic design. There's an innovation. I love that. That caught me right away. I was like, oh, I'm about to talk about how much I hate subscriptions, and Daily puts this in front of me. I don't like it. But there you go. You know, so there's definitely places where this can work. But it's usually, I don't want to use the word lazy. I would use the word lazy in our behalf, because we probably should have tried to do the payment process and much harder than we did. We switched to subscriptions because we couldn't figure out payment processing. And that's really not a good reason to have done it, you know. So I would say as a last resort, and anybody you talk to as a founder and their business model is based on subscriptions, ask them why. And they're not prepared for this at all. It's like, well, isn't that just what you do in software? No, it used to be. Also, Apple, Google, I'm going to pick on Zero again, Kieran, sorry. They have all now got to the point where they're going, we want 30% of your subscription, right? They're not doing that to Square. You can be sure of that. They're not doing it to each other. There's no way Apple's going to Google and going 30% of your subscription or Alphabet. It ain't happening, right? They're doing it to the guys at the bottom end, the small companies, because they can enforce them to do it. And it's getting worse and worse. Like Zero, you had to hook in for leads. Now they're looking for 25%. Now, and we went back and went, guys, so we're not a subscription business anymore, right? Are you saying that you want a quarter of our payment revenue? And they said, yes. That's like, if you take a quarter of our payment revenue, we have no margin. So what? So what? So what? We go to QuickBooks, so what? And then they started to negotiate. So this is going to get worse. Shopify are doing the same thing. The walled gardens, the things that distribute your app, are just eating bigger and bigger and bigger chunks of it. And you can wait for the day when they go, you're no longer putting your apps in the App Store for free, because it's going to come. There's no doubt about it. Now, if you're getting payments, will they go after that? They can't. It doesn't work. They're taking too much. It's too much of a gouge. They'll have to figure out something else. So what will replace them? Micropayments. Little tiny things that no one notices. It's like Brewster's Millions. Where do all the pennies go? Right? Little, what would you call them? Rounding errors. Little rounding errors at the end of the payment that goes to you. Now, again, you need scale. You need to be doing lots and lots and lots of these to make it work. But that's quite possible. You know, we have done millions upon millions upon millions of terminal payments. We're not a very large company. It is quite possible to do this. The scale of it is kind of built in because it's just there. People just buy stuff constantly. It's right there. Resold payments where the reseller gets paid to process the payment, paid well. This is an important distinction. If you're working with PayPal, Zettle, SumUp, WorldPay are actually better than some of the others in this case. You're getting paid a pittance, right? They're getting paid a lot more than you. So our average subscription value, 58 quid a month, for example, we know that SumUp we're making 120 a month average out of every single one of our customers, right? And we were getting paid at derisory amount, to the point where you didn't even send the invoice. It was like, no point. It's not worth my time sending the invoice. So this changes the model because you can get well paid, because you can set the rate. So if you can sell, I mean, I'm trying to think of examples at 3%. There are examples at 3%, like charity donations, for example, at 5%. If you can say, we need 5% to process that payment, you've made a lot of money on that payment. And if the merchant's happy and they see the value, everybody's happy. It's probably going to cost them less than a subscription anyway down the road. Yeah. The ability to scale usage, just built in. Also as well, they don't pay you when they're not using it, which is a very important distinction. And it's a nice thing. It's a really nice thing. Like, you know, when it doesn't have its bar open, they don't have to pay us. You know, charity doesn't have to pay us. It's great. I really like that. That's a value proposition that is beneficial to both of us. And that's really, really good. And then payment orchestration, which I have 2 minutes to tell you about. So my PayPal journey, long as it was spent 10 years waiting on PayPal. A, joining their payments between their point of sale and their e-commerce. They still haven't. B, launching in Ireland. They still haven't. So you're like, okay, guys, when's that will come into Ireland? Still hasn't launched in the south, right? So I made a big mistake. I waited 10 years for them to do something that they were never going to do. The problem was that all the biz devs thought, it'll happen. Yeah, it'll happen. It didn't happen. It just didn't happen, right? So you're kind of at the point where you're going, okay, we've been 10 years with PayPal, right? What's next? You know, what's going to come along and change all this for us, right? Because we love Stripe. I love Stripe. They're a wonderful partner. They're the best partner we've ever had. But do I want all my eggs in one basket again? No. Payment orchestration says, here's a 20 quid payment, right? Examples of this are gravy. For example, ex of PayPal, John Lunn, who I met when I was in the States last year, amazing guy. Looked at PayPal, looked at all the payment processing and went, how do we make this better for everyone? Okay, 20 quid payment comes in. Your software goes, if you put it through these guys, you'll earn X. If you put it through these guys, you'll earn X. If you put it through these guys, and it picks the best one for that payment, right? Bang, off it goes. So you as the merchant or the retailer, in our case, you make more money. We make more money. They make more money. Everybody's happy. That's the next stage of this, is going, okay, I've got a payment. Where's the best place to put it? Payment orchestration. And I think that's me.
Yeah, no, my question was essentially for companies that are organising fees for services, so we'll be charging our future customers, hopefully, for their ability to, advertise beauty appointments, etc. But for this card facilitation through the phone, would that mean they themselves could receive the payment directly? Or would it come to the business to organise?
So on a phone, for example, so if you wanted to use Tap to Pay, yeah.
Customer did that with theirs.
Like, yeah. Right, so let's take an example of Tap to Pay on your phone, right? And for anyone that doesn't know, Tap to Pay doesn't need a card terminal, just phone to phone, watch the phone, etc., right? So you would build the app that does the Tap to Pay. On the back end, you would have a Stripe, a Molly, or an Adyen, and then when that payment comes through, you go, okay, we're billing the customer 2.5%, let's say, and we're sending X to Stripe. You keep the rest. So the amount on top, so let's say you're paying Stripe for easy maths 1.5, you keep 1% of the payment. Oh, yes, of course. Sorry.
But it comes directly to us, but we have to control it, and then...
It comes to you. So you have what's called, in Stripe's case, a Connect account, right? Yes. So you're a Connect account. So in our case, it's our POSPay is a Connect account, and then all of our customers are customers of that Connect account. So it comes to you, yeah, and then it gets paid to Stripe, paid out to the customer.
That's okay, just double check.
Got it. Sorry, you referred it down the line to me. Yeah.
Or new and better.
No, it kind of works the same on that end, but there's innovations there as well. It's getting good. Kenny Galloway.
Hello. Quick question for Marty, just in terms of, I think this might be education for people in the room as well. Lots of providers all going on in the background there. Lots of potential partnerships. I'll touch on that in a bit. What's the resource to actually get this moving? Because there's lots of APIs, there's lots of integrations, there's lots of dev. Can you just maybe talk through, like, what is the resource? What is the time to do all of this? Because again, if anybody's thinking about that, it's probably essential as well. So,
Big Nick was in the audience, but I've bored him senseless over the last 14 years, so he probably didn't want to listen to me anymore. It was about 4 days with a single dev to get a payment going on the terminal, which is extraordinary. Now, there's a lot more after that. Of course, as you know, there's refunds, there's this, there's that, there's all manner of stuff. But they actually, from the standing start to hello world, 4 days, one dev. And we've never put more than 2 devs on it the entire time. Do you know?
you chat to Marty.
Oh, honestly, do you know what? I'm not a sales guy for Stripe, but probably should be. But honestly, that's down to Stripe and how easy it made it, Kenny. Because it's just that simple. Like, you're Lightyear, you've done it with legacy partners, you know the hell that is. By the way, the legacy partners know the hell that is as well. They're not pretending. Stripe looked at all that and went, how do we make this so simple? So simple. Which I was actually going to do a payment in a day upstairs, but Michael was kind of like, I like encryption. I'm like, all right, then. Okay, good. And the payment's not even encrypted. No, that's all right, good. But yeah, I would say even the smallest company, if you've got payments going through your platform, this is viable for you. You don't need a big dev team. You don't need a big dev stack. In fact, actually, Stripe are actually making tools and embedding the tools. It's almost going to get to the point where you could do this yourself.
That'd be great.
It's coming soon, I would say. Anybody else? Sorry, wait for the mic there. That's mostly for the recording, really is.
Marty, I don't know much about airports, so if I come to you and say, okay, Marty, I have a website, a Shopify website, and I take payments in Shopify, take payments in using PayPal, what could you do for me?
Okay, so you've got a Shopify website. You're not selling physically in a physical location?
Yeah, I sell I can sell in person as well.
Right, okay. Well, you know that Shopify's got a POS, right? So step one could be that, right?
Yeah, I use Zettel as well.
Zettel?
Zettel is cheaper, so I said, okay, let's just use Zettel for when I'll sell it.
Zettel's cheap?
It is. It is compared to Shopify.
I'll take that bet.
Yeah,
but
slightly cheaper.
Depends on your
1.75 and Shopify is 2%.
Depends on your card mix.
Yes, depends.
heavily dependent on your card mix.
Yeah, so I said,
Right.
okay.
Yeah, okay.
You-
Yeah, they probably work out about the same on your card mix, to be honest.
Okay,
Right.
okay.
So, but that's a magic trick. That's a
Right.
payments processor's magic trick, right? Yeah. So it's about unification, right? So Shopify, by far the best e-commerce platform, by far, worlds ahead of anybody else. WooCommerce, forget it. Don't go near it, right? It's a mess. Leave it on the tire fire, right? So if you've got Shopify, your options are limited, frankly. You can look at us, you can look at ePOS Now, you look at Shopify themselves, but it's really about unifying things like your inventory, your reporting, your payments, right? So if you're using Zettle, you got your payments over here, you got your e-commerce payments over here, you got PayPal over here, you got this over here, you got this over here. The only happy guy in the room's Kieran because he has to bring it all together, right? You unify all those payments, you unify your reporting, you simplify your business. Simple as that. Really is as simple as that. And it's not about price, by the way. Think of how much time you spent pulling all that together. Right? So you're saving minor amounts. Let's say you're saving a penny a transaction, Zettle versus Shopify. Lunacy. You're spending a fortune putting it all together. Yeah. Yeah. Point of sale app on your iPad, Android, Windows. Yeah. Payments fully integrated into the point of sale. So no double entry. Double entry's a horrible thing. That needs to go away. Nobody needs RSI to take their payments, right? Yeah, and then everything in the back end up on the cloud, right? So you got a back office up in the cloud, takes care of your inventory, takes care of your reporting, etc. Then Shopify, feeding in. So if it's sold online, it's sold in your shop. If it's sold in your shop, it's sold online. Everything gets unified. Yeah, no worries.
Thanks for that, Marty. Obviously, with the news this week with banking systems and credit card providers being allowed to potentially hold on to your money before you get it, I would like to know your thoughts on that in terms of, is that going to change, or is there going to be revolutionary ways that we can get a hold on it? I appreciate banking systems make money from the interest in their accounts.
Yeah.
Any feedback on that?
I would say to you that that's the banks sinking. That's the banks sinking and trying to talk the regulators into helping them. And trying to rescue them, because everybody knows that a payment goes through automatically and straight away. Everyone's fully aware of that, right? So even holding on to your payments for 3 days and paying them out 3 days later, as you say, is an interest play, right? So it's really the banks saying, we can't keep up. Please help us, Mr. Regulator. Now, the regulators are wise to it. Regulators are going, absolutely not. The PSR are going, the customer suffers, the customer experience suffers. We've had enough of the customer experience suffering because of the banks. Right, so Stripe must be rubbing their hands and going, brilliant. Yeah, you guys go out in public and say just how bad you are at this, and we'll just come along and mop the floor with you in the next few years, which they will, because the banks are never going to modernise. There'll be modern banks. Starling will get this right, maybe. Wise will get this right, but it's all going to be bottom up, not top down. That's a desperate play by the banks.
Thank you.
Hey Marty, thank you. So this is a wee bit sort of abstract to take it back a step. So if we're building platforms, we're also building metaverses. In both of those, there's going to be creator payments, small payments, as you say, micro payments for content and expert content and exclusive content, like clothes drops, fashion drops, all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
The ideas are going in about micro payments and apps and then subscription for, say, the metaverse that we're building at the moment for hip hop culture.
Yeah.
Do you, in your expert opinion, think that would be best served as a bigger micropayment over a subscription for the users themselves?
Would you pay a subscription for a game?
It's not essentially a game. It's a.
No, but would you?
Would I? I'm not. I used to be a gamer, not anymore.
Would anyone pay a subscription for a game?
Probably not.
Why would they pay for a metaverse?
Yeah.
So I would look at gaming. Yeah. Right, but that's the micropayment, right? Yeah. That's the micropayment, because they know you won't pay a subscription, right? So I would say to you,
Yeah.
I would look at the gaming universe and say, why have they not adopted subscriptions? Well, because people aren't that daft,
Yeah.
is the answer, right?
They're bored and tired
Yeah.
of subscriptions, like. So
yeah,
I think if you're talking
it doesn't stack up, David.
freemium and in-app, then the next sort of logical or thoughtful
Yeah.
predictive analytics thing is
subscription because we can build a business on subscription. But if that's not really part of if people aren't going to tie into that,
I could be wrong here. This is my bet, not
Marty,
yours,
I'm
right?
hanging my hat on this, mate.
Yeah. Well, I would say too, you control the entire metaverse, right? It's your universe, right? It's your fucking rules, man. Yeah. You know, why would you introduce the old rules? You're not going to bring in, you know, a bank into this, right? You're not going to go, Mr.
Hopefully
Bank,
not.
come in and make this all harder for us.
Yeah.
You know, I would say to you, and again, I'm nearly 50, so I'm probably the wrong guy to answer. The metaverse just looks like a game to me. I would follow the gaming rules, follow the gamification rules, because actually as well, so when you look at Shopify, for example, 70% of Shopify's revenue now comes from payments.
Yeah.
That's extraordinary. That's only happened in 6 years.
Yeah.
No, payments, it's just so much better, David. So much better. So if you can get there, do it.
What are your thoughts on DPIN?
On
DPIN,
no idea what it is.
decentralized physical infrastructure for instead of AWS.
Oh, fuck. There's Big Nick at the back. Nick, what's our thoughts on DPIN?
Just thinking if people are spending thousands on AWS, that new sort of scene that's coming out where it's all decentralized storage stuff.
I can tell you, I think AWS was an acceptable cost at the beginning. Yeah. I don't quite understand how we've got to where we've got to in terms of the pricing. I don't get it. Now, if you have a huge amount of venture capital, you can buy things way ahead and keep your costs way, way down. Yeah. So it's probably, you know, so we're basically looking at what 37 Signals have done and saying we're going to go on virtual slices somewhere.
Aye.
I don't know. I honestly don't know. I think it's too early days to say for sure that's the way to go. And it depends on your use case. If you're heavy video, Big Nick's the guy to talk to. I'm not the guy to talk to.
Which we are.
I think that's me, guys. I want to keep to the rules with everybody else. So thank you so much.